All right, I think we are rolling here. We're about to start rolling here. I accidentally didn't hit the record on here, but I'm hoping that YouTube records it right. And so now let me know when the music is off. As we're coming screen. All right, let me know when the music is ready to go, Mr. Brandon. The boss. All right, you guys. Thank you all for joining us. And first of all, apologize if there's any connectivity issues, any little issues that happen here. We have a new camera, we got new streaming software. So we're hoping this is a little bit lighter and allows us to do more live streams this year. It's been a while, so it has been a while. And I want to give a huge shout out to everybody that joined today, everybody that's joining us or watching this on the replay. Because in this live stream, my goal and my focus is to essentially bring out three ways that you can start your brand with no money down. Now, we've talked about this in the past, but I'm going to be showing you guys one way that I recently saw is killing. The people that are doing this are murdering when it comes to sales. So you guys need to know about this. So I'm going to be discussing that in this live stream as well as taking your questions. So any questions that you guys may have, make sure you guys drop them right down in the links right down below. Now we got the man Richard Preda. We got Scorched AC94. What's up, man? We got Dong Gang. Hello, how's it going? Guys, thank you guys for joining us in this live stream. And again, it's been a while since we've done this. So but it's not the last. We're definitely gonna be doing a lot more this year. Now, I want to start off because I feel that we're obviously going to be answering your questions in the chat. So please drop them in the chat. Any questions that you may have, leave them in the comments. We're going to be looking at them. We're going to have time to pause, reflect. I'm also going to ask you questions. So I want you guys to tell me a little bit about where your brand is right now. Are you guys currently selling? Are you thinking about starting? Are you thinking about growing? Let me know what stage you're in. So then that way we can start to tailor this live stream and this Q&A directly for where your brand is and how we can better assist you. So please leave that in there. Tamara, double click. Hello, how's everybody going? We're excited to get started on this first live stream of the year. Now, I think it's important for us to start with for those of you who may have seen my channel for any length of time, you may have seen a common theme and a common message across all of them. And you may be wondering, who is this guy? Why is this guy talking about this? What's his background? Why should we listen? I think it's been a couple years since I even shared anything about publicly about what it is, what my background was, and how I got to where I am today. So I want to take just a few minutes, a minute or 2 minutes, whatever you guys allow, to kind of tell you guys that story and tell you the story about what brought me here today and where we see the future of everything that's been working. So, any videos that you guys see, anything that you guys have been noticing, you will have a little bit better context about what it's all about. So, again, this is all going to be about starting an e-commerce brand with no money down. A little bit about you. You guys may have seen on a in terms of what's going on. Is the live stream cutting down? Is the presentation good? We are still rolling here. So if you guys still see us, let me know. Let me know if everything is still good for us here. But in regard to what we do, right? So in terms of like my background and my personal background and things has always been about you guys have probably seen me with the YouTube. You might see some things on Street Crafter now. In the past, we historically worked with brands and businesses such as Adobe, UPS, Shopify, TikTok, Bella Canvas. You may have seen those videos mentioned or advertised or essentially, talked about in channels, in videos on my channel. So that's where I am today. And the whole goal, like I mentioned earlier, sorry, I have multiple screens here. The whole goal is to just kind of give you guys a little bit of background of how I got to where I am today, how all this connects, and why it matters. So the next thing, let me get the next slide. My background. All right, I think this is important. So no, I didn't come from any money, and that's probably the reason why I always start with $0 or $50 with anything that I do. Our story and our background is my dad is an immigrant from Mexico, came to America to work, and he actually had us, and we lived in a garage for a few years of my life. So I was living in a garage in California with four people, and then a few years after I was born, he decided, hey, let's move to Vegas. I think we could at least get a one-bedroom apartment because now we're gonna have five people. So we had five people living in a one-bedroom apartment. We always had cousins over. It was always a really good time. Those years and memories of my life are always very special because it really was about family, and, we didn't have much, but my parents made a sacrifice to essentially go out to Mexico, right? So they're from Mexico, and it was s about 10 years since before they had visited their parents, so they said, "You know what? Let's save up. We got some papers now we can cross between both countries. Let's head on over to Mexico." And this was a little AI avatar picture of me. I think I looked about that cute, probably not. That's my sombrero. I had my little hat. I was ready to go to Mexico. I was so excited because it was the very first time I was gonna be on an airplane and the very first time I was gonna see where my parents came from. Now, we lived in a one-bedroom apartment in the United States, didn't think anything of the world as a kid. You just kind of are born into those circumstances, and that is your reality. So me going to Mexico and seeing where food came from was such an eye-opening experience for me. I can't even explain it. So there was farms out there in the mountainside that my parents and family all farm, and I remember seeing where the corn came from for the very first time as a kid. Back then, there was no YouTube. Back then, there was no social media, so it's not like you can just see it on the phone. It was literally something that you had to go see or you saw on TV if a channel showed it. And, let me know if you guys are from if let me know if you guys, if your primary, location wasn't in the US and you also had this experience. Drop it in the chat, would love to know. So, here I am picking corn, figuring out where food comes from, and then literally, this is like my grandma's house back in the day in those, like in that style of architecture, and somebody came knocking on the door. It was like, "Chayotes!" And I still remember, I was like, "Mom, somebody's knocking on the door. Chayotes!" And I was like, "What the heck's a chayote?" It's a squash here. It's a fruit. And I opened the door. He was like, "Hey, quieres chayotes?" My mom was like, "No queremos chayotes." So then I was like, "Huh, what was that?" And she told me, "Son, this is where, people farm and then they sell their fruit door to door. Or if they don't sell it door to door, they sell it in stores." And at that moment, it felt like I was mind blown. Like for my whole life, I thought that the food came from the Walmarts, the super centers, the convenience stores. I had no idea where things came from. But here I am at 6 years old, realizing that food actually came from the ground and somebody actually farmed it and now they were selling it. So that's when, for me, I finally realized, like, wow, you could be a business owner and you can make money by creating a product and selling it either door to door, person to person, or selling it in retail stores. Now, as soon as I got home, I literally opened up a notebook and I started writing all these business ideas I had. I remember I had like a salt shaker concept, a lot of different ideas. And it always stuck with me ever since I was 6 years old. I'm going to start a business. We're going to do some type of trade. We're going to do something when I grow up. I also had the idea of wanting to be a movie maker in the military and all this other stuff, and I kinda lived all of those in very, very interesting ways. Um, but when I was 18, I essentially graduated from, high school, and I had that idea was still in the back of my mind, remember, it's like something that was implanted at me when I was very young. So here I am now at, 18 years old, 19, going to college, and I had this idea for a business that was a customizable backpack called Revive. Now, from that doing business plan competitions. We went through the whole business plan route. Now we had no money, $0 at this point, and I actually funded the business through getting a car loan. So the bank wouldn't give me a business loan. They were offering me a school loan. They're like, "Yeah, well, you can qualify for 100 grand in student loans." And I said, "Can I use that money to start my business?" They said, "Nope." And I was like, "What?" Makes no sense, absolutely no sense why the system works that way, but that's for another conversation. So here I was, and I was like, "Well, can I get a personal loan to buy a car?" They're like, "Oh, that's a perfect reason to give you a loan. Yes, you can have a personal loan to buy a car." And then I said, "So when you deposit the loan into my account, are you guys going to check to see where it gets dispersed to?" And they're like, "No, as long as you can pay it back every month." And I used that money to start my first business. So I found a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. I had a business plan. We looked for suppliers, we found suppliers, we had fabrics, we had manufacturers, we had printing, we had everything that we needed to manufacture our first run. And back then, this was before YouTube was around showing information like this, guys. This was literally Google searches, phone calls, and driving down to LA, driving down throughout California to find these suppliers. Now, during those times, nobody wanted to share their resources because everybody else was going through the same thing. can imagine literally spending 6 months of your life to find that supplier that's gonna help you build your brand, and now you're gonna tell somebody else for free? It was unheard of. And that's essentially what I was doing, uh, about 6 years after starting my business, I started doing that. What led up to me starting my YouTube channel, I think is an important story, is I was actually we had worked for 6 months on a distribution agreement, and I don't know how aware you guys are with retail, but essentially, when it comes to retail stores like PacSun or Zumiez or, any store that sells any brand, they don't work directly with the brands a lot of the times. Now, it's a little bit easier to do, but back then, um, buyers would essentially work with distributors, and distributors would essentially have a catalog of brands. So now you have all these brands under this distributor, and that distributor would go and sign all these like agreements to purchase products. So like the store Zumiez would purchase this whole collection. So distributors were creating collections, and a lot of the reasons that's why you'd find, a hat, a shoe, a clothing from all these different brands, but all similar collaborations, is because the distributor was, or that sales agency now was packaging them all up together and making it easier for those retail stores to do business with those brands. So we were essentially a part of a distribution, a new distributor that was coming on the market, and we worked for 6 months developing product lines for a huge collaboration with Wiz Khalifa and Monster headphones at the time. Now, this was back in 2014, so if you were around back then, let me know. I think you might know a little bit about how big of a deal that was. But for us, it was a life-changing opportunity. I remember we emptied out the rest of our bank account. Anything that we had in terms of money from the income that we produced selling stuff, we put it into this trade show. And we had a 10 by 10 wall, and we had about 15 SKUs, and we did dye sublimation to match headwear, to match headphones. We literally had to get the exact science of time and temperature. We had to source overseas, we had to source in Mexico and in the States. Depending on order volume, we had to meet certain demands. And if I'm boring you guys with this information, let me know. But essentially, we had to work really hard for those 6 months because we finally got our shot. And the whole idea was, after we do this, we're finally going to have our big break. This is going to be the moment that finally puts us on track to be that brand we always envisioned being from the very beginning. And at that moment, guys, like, you have no idea. We were on a high. It was incredible. And at the end of the show, we were on an extreme low. And I'll tell you guys why. Part of the reason was because the spirit of everybody around us was a little uneasy, and we were like, "What's going on? What deals did you guys close?" Right? We were always asking because they were the ones taking the deals down. We were there just talking about the product. And here we were, February. This happened in August at Magic. September comes around, October, no answer yet. I'm like, "Yo, I need to let my suppliers know how many orders, how many units we need to manufacture." They're like, "Give us a few weeks." October, end of October, November comes around. Actually, yeah, and essentially they tell us, "Hey, our whole agreement with our investors broke down. So, guys, don't know what to tell you, but you're not manufacturing anything, and this whole agreement is void." And that was us in the fall of 2014. And I remember feeling so defeated at that moment because I literally just poured my whole year into it. I quit my job earlier that year. It was that turning point for me to decide I'm not going to go back to a 9 to 5. I'm going to focus on this 100% of the time. And this deal and this agreement was my way to do it. So I poured everything into it. We gave it our all, and and we didn't win, right? So here we were. It was a very sad summer. I'm not gonna lie, guys. It was very depressing, and essentially, um, it led us down a position. So here I was now, and I had to figure out what I was gonna do with my life. I'm 24 years old, and I just had this business for the last 6 years, 5 years, and had very little to show for it. So my wife at the time, who was my girlfriend, actually told me, "Hey, why don't you make a video on the 10 things that you wish you would have known before you started your brand and spent tens of thousands of dollars?" And I was like, "Huh, pretty good idea." And I was like, "But I don't think anybody's gonna wanna listen to it." She's like, "No, no, just put it up on YouTube. Just make it. Take the day to write it, to figure out what you're gonna say, and then take the next day to make it, and then take a few days to edit it." And she challenged me with that, and she said, "Don't come out of this room until you figure it out." And I did it. I put the video out, and it was literally everything I wish I could have found when I started the business 6 years ago, or 5 or 6 years before that, right? It was very hard information to come across. Nobody was sharing it because it was literally things that people were struggling with. So I shared that video, posted it, didn't look at it for months. My wife came back, said, "Hey, where's the video at? How many views?" And it had like 400,000 views. Guys, it was crazy to see the reception. And I was so scared of opening up those comments because I was like, nobody's gonna believe that this is possible. But I knew it was possible because I worked for the SBA part-time doing this exact steps in multiple cities, right? Like we worked in Nevada, but we had all these other partners and everybody followed the same program, but nobody knew about it. So I shared a lot of that and I knew it was gonna work and it did work. And people were like, "I got my brand started because of you. Thank you." And that's essentially what started this YouTube community. From that, we had some great opportunities. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we had the ability to design a really cool product. It was a basketball bag. We designed it, launched a Kickstarter campaign from it. A lot of the OG YouTubers on here, or a lot of the OG viewers on here, supported that campaign, which was really cool to see you guys get that bag and be able to experience and be a part of that journey. And then YouTube actually selected me for something called YouTube Next Up, and from YouTube Next Up, I actually got to meet Becky G. I don't know if you guys could see her in that little photo there, but yeah, Becky G was there. She wasn't as big as back then. She wasn't as big as she is now, but she was really cool. So we got to meet a lot of really cool YouTubers out there, and I got to see the future of what YouTube was, what it could be, what it could mean to somebody. So we started really building out the channel and really figuring out how do we reach millions of people with the information that they need to hear. Now, it's not gonna be the most, niche topic a lot of the time. It's gonna be a little bit broader, but we wanna serve education, and we also wanna serve millions of people. So that was a challenge that I was tasked with after really taking YouTube full time, which is the reason why you guys see a lot of different content pieces and why you guys see some repetitive themes and conversations, is how can we share that information with as many people as possible. So every video is very unique, and, and recently, I had a and because of YouTube, I've had the opportunity to work with literally some of the top brands, businesses, billionaires invite us into the room to have a conversation with them to figure out how do they break into YouTube. There's so many opportunities that have come through YouTube, and I'm very grateful for that. One of them recently was actually working with Gelato, and Gelato's a print-on-demand platform. We're gonna talk a little bit about them later on, but it's not gonna take away from what I'm gonna deliver from you guys, I promise. But Gelato brought us out to Norway, so that's me actually in the snow, meeting with this team, and I found what these, like, multi-million dollar brands that are only doing print on demand are doing. And it really blew my mind because I realized that this information wasn't anything that people were really sharing on YouTube, and it's literally something that the people you guys watching are hearing about it first. Like, one of the very first people, obviously, you got the very, very first people, which were, like, super niche, freaking really into the tech and coding, and then you have everybody else, and we're at that cross where we're gonna share this with you, and I really hope that you take away some of these strategies and it shifts your perspective in how you're doing print on demand. So right now, what I wanna do is I wanna take a moment and, I wanna take a moment and actually start bringing some of these questions to the front. Alright, so we got a couple people here. Thank you guys all for dropping your questions in here. So we have, should I trust the print on demand quality for T-shirts? We're gonna be answering some of that because those are real challenges. Um, so Sports Ace, staying with my family to move here legally during the Gulf War when my grandfather served. He became a citizen after and started a family. That's awesome, man. I love hearing those stories, and changes your life when you got a good family like that. So he's also close to launching his trademark. He's been designing since New Year's. I feel like I've been might be ready midsummer. Great. It's a great timeline. Um, so tomorrow's been going around in circles for about 2 to 3 years, but nothing going on yet, but don't want to quit. Okay, 2 to 3 years is a pretty good amount of time. So tell me what you've tried, where you've had some success and where you had some failure. Let's dive into this and actually leave a comment in some of the niches, some of the things that you're interested in exploring. I'm gonna be actually doing a little workshop here with you guys. Okay, so I'm thinking about starting. El Diddy, how's it going? We have Tammy. We have, I can't pronounce this name, Satrias. Hello, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. Guys, leave your questions in the comments right here because we're about to start answering. And this is a little segue before we start diving into some education, but I want to make sure I'm answering your guys' question and focusing in the right areas. So Scorch is taking notes. Okay, if you hire a graphic designer, is your design protected from them possibly using it? It's a really, really good question. And that one is something that I think we could answer right now. So when it comes to you guys working with graphic designers, now a lot of the platforms, if you hire them through a platform, there's certain clauses that you guys sign if you hire through the platform. Or there's a certain license that you have to buy in order for that art to be legally yours. So if you're hiring through a platform, that platform usually provides that, if somebody's working and if you're paying through that platform. Now, if you're not paying through that platform and you're hiring somebody from a school or somebody online or somebody random, you're gonna wanna create a good contract that says they're handing you the rights, the worldwide rights to license and own that image forever, right? So make sure you get that. Something along those lines, but look up, what you'll essentially wanna look up is a graphic design ownership clause, and then just make sure that that paperwork is signed, and you'll be good. Um, how much should I expect from a Chinese manufacturer? Like Fiverr. Yeah, Fiverr sometimes has those options to pay for ownership. Um, cool. What should I look like for a manufacturer? Let's start my streetwear apparel. Okay, this is good. Think about starting a brand, but ads are expensive and drop shipping is saturated. What's your opinion? Richard, we're about to dive into that right now, man. I'm excited to talk a little bit about that because in one way, print on demand is saturated. I'm not gonna lie about that. It definitely is a very tough market to break into if you're thinking about doing print on demand like everybody else is. But I'm gonna be showing you guys something that I hope gets your creative juices flowing into how you can break into this new opportunity and this new way of you selling on demand. All right, so let us go back to our presentation here real quick and start diving into some of these details with you guys. Okay, so we have 3 ways to start. Okay, so I think it's important. So for those of you guys that are watching right now, and you're wondering, okay, well, print on demand, pre-order, make it myself. What's the pros and cons? Should I do which one? Kind of confusing to navigate. So I just want to take a quick second to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of each. Now, when it comes to pre-order, guys, pre-order is essentially you taking orders for a product that you designed that hasn't been created. You have a sample. Maybe you have a sample that you could show, photograph, market. And then once you get those orders in and you meet the minimum threshold to produce those products, you actually go make them and you deliver them to your customers. Now, the pro is that you can still do it with very little money, close to $0 out of pocket. Now, this is actually how we did our first campaign on Kickstarter. We actually had a pre-order campaign, and we had to meet a minimum manufacturing threshold. So we set that as the goal, and then we had to go out there and market. And that allowed us to put the product out and have a very small profit that allowed us to reinvest into the next production and really kickstart our brand. So pre-order is a great approach if you on a budget, if you have a very small budget. Now the cons is the actual delay in shipping. So if somebody pays for it, it might take 4 to 6 weeks for you to actually fulfill those order requests. So 4 to 6 weeks to raise the funds, and then it might take another 4 weeks for them to actually get their product or more, depending on how complex it is. But pre-order is a great strategy if you're not 100% sure if the design, like if you're doing a cut and sew design, it's a great approach. You don't want to spend a lot of money on inventory. You don't want to put thousands of dollars out there and not get it back. So it's a great way for you to see, can you sell this? Can you raise some funding and prove out your concept before you go and spend all that money? Now, when it comes to making it from home, okay, we got making it from home, and this is essentially what we call the street crafter way, right? The make it from home, the print from home revolution is here, and millions of people are taking advantage of it. Now, the pros of making it from home is that you can essentially stock up on the blanks that you need, and you have more control when it comes to quality. Now, the cons is that you have to make it yourself. So you do become a pseudo print shop, and you gotta have a good operation, whether it's in the bedroom, in the garage, or some part of the house where you can actually keep track of your orders, print the orders, make the orders, ship the orders. So you are the print house as well as the fulfillment center, the marketer, sales department. Right? It could be a little heavy, but that's the pros. The pros is that you control the quality. The cons is that you have to spend your time to actually make the product. And the reality is that a lot of people that are looking to start an e-commerce business, an apparel brand, or a fashion business are looking for ways to do it part-time. They're looking for ways to, how can I design? How can I market? And how do I find the right partners to make the products for me? Now, this is where print on demand lives. So for those of you guys who are wondering, is print on demand saturated? It is, because the majority of people don't want to make products themselves. They'd rather have somebody else do it. That's the pro. The pro is somebody else is doing it. The cons is the fact that you don't necessarily control the quality, and you have to really rely on a good print production partner. Now, and then you also You need to just make sure that you're able to market and sell because everybody else is doing it, right? And that's historically what, 3 ways to start with little money really entailed. Now we're gonna be talking about a method that is very unexplored, uncharted, and it's new territory that you guys can really take advantage of when it comes to print on demand, but it's gonna be for a limited time before that market gets saturated again. So you need to be able to take notes, get creative, combine the ideas that you currently have with this new method, and then really see the possibilities of a print on demand in an e-commerce business in this way. All right, so we're gonna be talking about that in just a second. And shout outs to everybody that's coming on. We got Christopher, we got Dong, James, support your family. How about supporting your family for business? Very important. Um, we got Godspeed Great. Do you have any marketing tips? We're going to be giving some of those. Make sure you stick around. Can I use any image from the internet and use it for my t-shirt company? No, you can't. You can't do that, guys. We're going to be talking about some design programs, challenges. Right now, I want you guys to drop some niches, meaning like some industries that you guys are interested in entering. What I mean by this, a niche is something that's like an interest group, right? So let's say we have football. Football is a niche in sports. Let's say we have sports. Sports is a broad niche. You have football, soccer, tennis, and then maybe you have paddleball, right? You have paddleball. Let's put paddleball out there. Drop some other niches that you guys are interested in exploring because we're gonna do a quick workshop here in just a second. So leave a comment in the chat about a niche that you're interested in exploring for your brand so we can see the viability of it in real time. All right, 'cause we're gonna be showing a couple things here. So when it comes to the right way to do print on demand, all right, so everybody is essentially doing print on demand by, hey, I have this clothing brand and I want to sell it and nobody's buying it. And print on demand has bad quality. It doesn't work. That sums up about 99% of everybody I talk to. I have a brand, print on demand is not good quality, and people aren't buying my stuff. And that's really where it starts and ends. So the right way to do print on demand, guys, is about finding a niche. All right. I just talked about sports as broad, the individual sports as a niche, paddleball as a niche, and there's even niches between niches. Niches are in the riches, all kinds of ways to say niche. But essentially, what this means is a niche is a subgroup of a larger group that has a very strong following. He has a following that's either growing, but is not decreasing. Okay, we're going to talk about that. We're going to show you guys what that means in just a second. And to find a niche, for a lot of people, they're like, okay, what niches should I enter? How do I find a niche? What are you talking about, John? I just want to sell my brand. Why don't you tell me how to do that? I'm showing you guys right now. All right, so to find a niche, you got to find an interest. All right. You got to be interested in something. If you're not interested in anything, then you have to find something that you'd be interested in exploring and doing for a very long time. What I mean by this is at least 6 months. All right. A lot of people think it's going to happen in a few weeks. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there that say, hey, I made $1 million in a month. Not the reality of how things work, guys. You have to be able and willing to sacrifice and do some research and dive into a topic and really love that niche to have some success with print on demand. And as you're doing this research, the important things to do is to find out where are your customers hanging out. Where do they actually kind of congregate online? Are they in Facebook groups? Do they follow certain Instagram pages? What is it? Where are they hanging out? Who are they talking to? Where are they talking? You need to have all this as your market research written down in an Excel sheet or a business plan because you're essentially building out a business plan to enter a print on demand business with these 4 questions that you're supposed to answer. Right, the next question that you need to have as you're doing this research, you need to identify the products. All right, guys. So you need to identify, the as you do your research in this niche, you're going to see other competitors selling products within this market. So you need to figure out what are they selling, why do people love it? What are the reviews about it? Why do they buy it? Really dig into the customer there. Really find out why the customer bought something. You should consider buying it too if you like it, and then see what's special about it. Was it the packaging? Was it the messaging, the email marketing, or was it just a print on demand product? Because 99% of the time it's just print on demand products. But they found that niche, and if people are buying it for a certain reason, you need to find out why. And then what price point are they buying it at? A lot of times price point dictates if somebody's gonna buy something or not. I mean, you can literally have the same exact product, one product being $200 and another product being $50. If you're selling that $200 on your own website through very very boutique, expensive, retail stores, you could demand $200. But if you put that $200 product on Amazon next to the $40 product, people are going to buy the $40 products. Markets indicate how much they're willing to pay and buy and what they're willing to spend money on. All right, so you need to identify the products. Then you need to figure out what is the average price that these products are really killing it at, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that in just a moment. Now, the next thing that you need to jump into is creating designs. All right, so you have a couple different ways. We had somebody mention it in the chat. There's a, you can either design it yourself, you can crowdsource it. Crowdsourcing is essentially a way for multiple people to join in on this like design competition. And then you have outsourcing, which is more like the Fivers and stuff. Now let me actually show this screen. I think I had something pulled up here because a lot of time people are wondering, where can I find graphic designers? A lot of times people want to know that. So I want to stream the most popular ways. All right. So I'm going to share this screen here. Where is it at? I think it should be this. Hey, I hope you guys can I think you guys can see this. Yes, you can. All right. So, I think I went a little ahead of myself right now. So what I wanna do really quickly is let's, Brandon, did anybody drop niches that they're interested in? 'Cause we're gonna have to peel back just before I start showing you guys, artwork resources. Let's dive into Google Trends. Now, this is something if you're interested in a niche for you to verify if it's a niche that's growing and you should go after, or is it a niche that's already dead? Is there any comments in there about a niche? I'm gonna water real quick, drop them in there. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm like doing this crazy screen. We got military, athletic, outdoor. Okay, gym anime. That sounds really cool. I like that idea. Started goth, god, stoics. All right, there's some pretty good ones here. Let me pick one. Let's go with gym anime. Let's go gym anime. I like that idea. All right, gym anime is a pretty good one. Let's drop in. What's an anime? Obviously, Dragon Ball Z is one. Cartoons. Okay, so let's do gym. Okay, so the niche that you're going with is gym wear, right? Or maybe not gym wear, but you got like gym wear. It might be gym wear. So this is so far. So what's really cool about Google Trends, guys, is that if you're able to put in a topic, right? So we'll start with gym wear. I actually want to do paddleball, and then we'll dive into gym wear. But let's say you're interested in a certain niche regarding a sport, right? You're thinking about entering a certain sport and in the market, doing something. The very first thing you need to see is it growing in popularity? So is the sport or niche or thing that you're entering have a market? And a good way to explore it is actually to go to Google Trends. Now, if we go paddleball here, if we search paddleball, what you're gonna find here, this is only the past day. So let's go the past 5 years. So over the past 5 years, this is the search queries when it comes to paddleball, right? So over the past 5 years, you can see that it's growing. It has its peak. You see the peak season. When are people really searching for this? So around June is when it seems that it spiked in 2023, and around boom, 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 October, it was the highest point in 22. But it looks like the summer to the end of the year is huge for paddleball. And I would assume it's because either an event or something's happening in October and June that makes it more searchable, right? So let's just look. So past 5 years will indicate, okay, is this something that's growing? Now, interest over since 2004, surprisingly, it had a pretty, wait, what is this? Sometimes the stats are kind of funky if it's a newer topic, but it looks like it's been around for a while in terms of the actual sport. Um, let's see what else. So paddleball. I put paddleball, guys. I meant pickleball. But look, this is a good example here. All right, so we got paddleball, which is a very old sport, right? And now maybe you're interested in paddleball and you wanted to start a paddleball brand, but now you look into it and Google tells you, hey, pickleball. You might want to see what's happening with pickleball. So as you come over here and you look at pickleball, you're like, whoa, what is going on here? Look at the spike. Literally in 2020 started to pick up. It had a huge increase in 2023 of June, July, 'cause the for summer. And now let's see, you're interested in paddleball, but now you do your searches and look at the difference in search volume here. This is what I mean about finding a niche and then finding a growing niche, right? Because when there's growth in the market, there's a demand for products around that growing market. If it's new, that means that there's very little competitors actually going into the market and into that space, and you should consider it as a potential for you to pursue with a product line or some type of product that can sell to it. Now, again, this goes back to our point and what are you interested about and what can you spend hours on? Now, let's face it, guys, if you're not out there playing pickleball, and you don't know that it's pickleball versus paddleball, 'cause I don't know why I said that, um, it might not be a sport that you're interested in, right? So it might not be something that you should pursue for a very long time. You might wanna try it, see if you have success with it, and then you gotta force yourself to love it. Um, but if you don't enjoy it at all, you don't see yourself exercising, going out there, working with influencers, and having any tie to the market, chances are you're not gonna be successful with it. The main difference when it comes to print on demand and selling to a market is in how much interest and deep of a how deep are you ready to dive into that topic? Now, when it comes to pickleball, it's a huge market, all right? So we can see that. Now, let's say we go to like, okay, it's between pickleball and anime. Maybe I want to see, is anime growing? Is anime kind of stagnant? Whoa, you can see that the market for anime is almost 10 times what it is with pickleball. Pickleball is essentially still a growing niche, right? But we have anime that had a pretty big explosion in '04, kind of died down in the 2010s, and now it spiked in 21, but you can see it's downward trending a little bit. So something to look out for. Unknown why that's happening, but what's cool about Google is that you could see the audience breakdown here too. So you could see that it's pretty popular everywhere, and these states are the top interest. So if you're looking to sell for something, these are the states that are having the highest search groups. Over here, you can hit what is it? Crunchyroll, something that you might want to look into. What is Crunchyroll? Guys, you guys are gonna school me on this. If you know what Crunchyroll is, let me know. Sounds like a song to me, and I don't wanna Google it in case it's something else. Okay, so that's how you verify if a niche is something worthwhile. Now, we also had something called, like, Goth. We had Goth. Okay, so this is interesting. Let's remove Crunchyroll. Let's add in anime. And again, this is search volume just happening within Google. So obviously between Goth and anime is killing it, but Goth is having a little resurgence, it looks like. Had a huge dip in 2012, meaning that people weren't that interested in it. Started to spike up a little in 2016, but now the interest of it is coming up to become something similar to what it was back in 2004. So this is a pretty interesting niche. It's a very interesting niche. Now the market size, right? So you guys just saw right now. Let's just even add pickleball back here, in case you're wondering what this all means. Like, why does one graph so much bigger than the other? So pickleball is a market. In terms of the market size, it's not the biggest market, right? So let's add streetwear just so you guys can see what I mean here. Oh, streetwear is actually not that good. As a topic, this is all search volume, so as a general search volume, people aren't looking for streetwear as much anymore. But goth and pickleball, right? So if we're looking at these 2 charts here, what you're seeing is that goth is actually not that far behind pickleball. So whoever had the idea for, "Hey, should I make a goth-inspired brand?" It's definitely trending within searches. So that's something interesting for you to look at, something that you should consider. And the whole purpose of showing you guys this was that you need to pick a niche that you are pretty like interested in, right? You need to have interest in it. And then once you do that, you need to verify if there's a market for it. Now, if there's a market decrease, right? Let's throw out a brand that might be decreasing. What's something that might be decreasing, Brandon? What do you think is probably not trendy anymore? Okay, let's see. Supreme. All right. So, oh yeah, yeah. So Vans actually, I mean, Supreme had its spike in 2020, and yeah, it's not as trendy as it was. So this is a good way. So it's almost back to the levels of 2009, if you see that, 2012. So it had its spike and now it's having its struggles. So this is an example here of where you can see is it a seasonality thing? Sometimes what you'll find is there's certain things that are seasonal. So as a print on demand business, you should consider, hey, I should probably enter this market during the summer. And if I have another store focusing on these products during the winter, you can kind of, withstand the weather and the storms that are coming. Um, but Google Trends is where it's at, guys. I wanted to show you guys that really quickly. Let me go to these comment sections. Apologize if we do this crazy screen again. We got Attack on the Titans, Naruto. Is this live going to be saved, Tammy? I think we'll try to save. I accidentally didn't save it on this camera, which kind of sucks. So hopefully it doesn't get deleted. But yeah, we'll definitely try to save it within YouTube. Supreme started a streetwear brand, guys. Leave some comments here. Is this valuable? Is this something that you guys are interested with? And Melly said Crunchyroll is owned by Sony Group, is where you can stream every anime out there. Pretty cool. Thank you for putting me on. Face masks. Can you search athletic or gym or outdoor as a sub region? Okay, cool. So I think we got the general idea here. Let me know if you guys did, and if this brought value to you, consider using it. Go to Google Trends. It'll help you out. The next thing is Upwork. So we got Upwork. Upwork is I left off on graphic design. So Upwork is essentially where you guys can source for graphic designers and all kinds of other talent. Um, you can literally go through it. You can find some pretty good creatives. You can put jobs out there. So after you create an account, you can actually post a job like, hey, I'm looking for a full-time graphic designer. I'm looking for this kind of person. And people will apply and they'll send the portfolio in. So Upwork is a way for you to hire creatives in almost any part of your business that you may need. I've worked with some pretty cool people through that. Fiverr is another platform, obviously, for graphic design. Um, it'll be back up in no time. What does that mean? So right now, I guess they're not live. They're not live when we're live. But anyways, those are some resources that you guys should consider. Let me stop the screen share and go back to this. Um, so creating designs, marketing, and selling. Now we talked about groups, brand pages, and ads, right? Once you know what market you're going to be in, right? Somebody just mentioned Crunchyroll as a streaming service. So I'm sure there's a group about Crunchyroll somewhere on the internet or somewhere pages related to the top anime, right? Those are the pages that you consider working with to promote your products, or the pages that you should scout to find potential customers for your products, and the pages that you should ads on about your products, right? So as you're doing this research, you're trying to find where your market is living, where are they, what are they doing, and then with that, you can essentially start building out your brand and start advertising more profitably. Because a lot of times people just want to launch something to print on demand, throw some ads, it doesn't work. They don't have a niche. They're so focused on their own brand that they don't realize they could sell to a market that wants something. That's the mind shift I want you guys to have is don't think about it as, okay, I want to sell my own brand and I want to sell my own designs. You should be thinking about it in what do people want to buy and how can my brand create designs around that to start inserting myself into their life. If you can be part of somebody's life, it allows them to stay with you, right? Their interest might change, but you already are part of their life, and you can kind of change with them. So it's how Supreme started with skateboards, right? They started with skate. They tapped into a niche. They were very passionate about that niche, and then now it's evolved to be more luxury and just be for everybody. So your brand can have that growth trajectory if you start with a good niche. And that is the biggest reason why most print on demand businesses fail is they don't look at it in that way. They look at it in my brand doesn't sell, the print quality is not that good, and nobody's buying my stuff, right? Like those are the three things that everything condones to. So finally, time to break into where I think the biggest opportunity for your business is and for your brand is. We're going to be diving into why personalization is a new frontier. Now, you may be thinking about this. Personalization, to me, reminds me of like those little charms that you get to personalize for your girlfriend in high school. Um, kind of like that, but it's not like that. So hang with me here. But I want to take a little second right now to actually go through the chat, answer a little bit of your guys' Q&A, and then dive into the next thing. So let me scroll through here. Please drop your questions if I haven't answered them already. Make sure you guys are dropping your questions in the live chat. This is a live chat about starting your brand with no money down. We're discussing three different ways. We talked about the pre-order, we talked about the made on demand, and we talked about pre-order, making it yourself, and your print on demand method. And then we dove into the niches. We dove into some tools that you guys can use to actually verify if your niche is going to be good. And now we're going to be diving into a market that I feel is so underserved that if you put your creative juices to it, your brand can have success in here. And I truly believe that because I had a chance to go out there and see what $1 million print on demand businesses that are only selling print on demand are doing, and they're using these tools. So I'm show you guys some tools, I'm show you guys some processes. In the future live stream, we're going to dive into a little bit more of the details. But for right now, I want to put these creative juices out to you guys. And I want to take the moment to answer some of your guys' questions while we're on this chat. All right. So we're gonna go through them real quick, drop them in there. So we have the first one from Dale Diddy. Any recommendations for companies that will remove labels and tags from blanks and replace them with branded labels and care tags? Sorry if that pops the audio. Okay, so I'm gonna take Dale Diddy, and we are almost at an hour, so we're gonna try to power through these next few things so we can have a successful live stream. And I really hope you guys are enjoying this one. And I'll try my best to put it on the replay. I'll make sure that we can do that for those of you guys that might be on a rush. But if not, please stick around because we're about to dive into some important info that I know is going to benefit your brand. All right, so Google Trend will definitely come in handy when planning strategic marketing ideas. So Del Diddy, any recommendations for companies that remove labels and tags? Yes. Okay, so when it comes to, I'm assuming this is all for print on demand. Um, Typically, how this works, guys, when a company removes labels and tags, depending on the blank that you choose, they make it easier to remove the tag or very hard or next to impossible to do. So you have to choose blanks that have a tearaway tag. That's why it's so important to have a tearaway tag on the blanks that you work with when it comes to print on demand or when you're working with a partner like this. Now, typically how it works is somebody will have to either tear it away. If they can't tear it away, they gotta cut it, and it's not that hard, but it takes some time. And then afterwards, they gotta insert your branded tags and sew it. All right, so it's an extra process, and it's definitely not so automated, and you gotta have some skill in sewing or it won't turn out good. So the only platform that currently does this right now on demand is Applique, and we're gonna drop it in the chat. We're gonna link them in the description too. But Applique.com allows you to rip out tags, insert tags, and essentially brand the entire garment as yours. And it abides by the laws and everything else that you need to have. So that's the reason why a lot of print on demand platforms are hesitant on removing tags unless you put a print with the care label, country of origin, and all that good detail. Because by law, you need to have that information. So the only company that does this right now in relabeling on demand is Applique. Now, aside from them, you could work with a partner in your city or within the country that does things in bulk. That means that you'd have to ship the blanks that you want to use. They would relabel all of them, and a lot of times what they do is they store your blanks in their facility, and anytime you get an order, they print and ship. Or they'll pre-print, store it, and ship it as the orders are coming in. So again, it goes into the pre-made, pre-lunch or pre-order, make it made on demand or print on demand, right? Or making it for home, print on demand. Okay. So street crafter. So I love Oblique. How about risk, John? When it comes to risk, managing risk is super important, guys. That's why at the beginning of this video, we talked about the three most common ways to start with $0. I'm all about reducing your risk, increasing your potential gains. And the best way to do that is to always make sure that whatever it is that you're selling has a market and has a potential for a huge demand before you spend any money. And you can verify that on a small scale by sampling, testing, seeing if you can purchase, seeing if you can get some people to purchase. You can verify that small demand and then be a little bit more okay with putting money behind a production run to make more profit. Okay. So print on demand also allows you to reduce risk, which we're going to be talking about in just a minute. Now, when it comes to, well, the Street Crafter blanks have no tag. So, yes, we do have Street Crafter blanks. I'm actually wearing one right now. 400 GSM. We got it in the new colorway. We got a couple new colors dropping in a few weeks at a trade show, which we're going to link and talk about towards the end of this video. But these blanks will have tear away tags. So we'll make it easy for you guys to tear those tags away, add your own branded tags, or print inside of them. So Street Crafter blanks will make it easy for you guys to print on demand, make it from home, brand it, label it as yours, and increase your product's price point if you're going for a more premium brand. Now, if you're going for a price conscious brand, the Street Crafter luxury blanks aren't going to be for you. But if you're going for a 80, 120, $150 hoodie, this is where the market for our blanks live. Now, when it comes to link, please, we're gonna drop in the link. So if somebody needs a link to streetcrafter.com, we're gonna drop it right in there. Um, that way you guys can take a look. I highly encourage that you guys also sign up to the newsletter list happening there because we're doing a huge giveaway, which we're going to be mentioning in next week's live stream. For right now, I want to focus on the print on demand side and make sure you guys get some value from this personalization. But please sign up to that list because we're doing a huge giveaway. And what I mean by huge, I mean it's at least over $1,000 worth of products. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Make sure you guys sign up to the streetcrafter.com email list to be the first to know and enter. All right. So let's come on over to the boom, 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 to the next part of our presentation and everything that you guys have been waiting for. And that's in essentially, how can you do print on demand in a new way? How can you make print on demand something that's profitable for your business instead of just I tried print on demand, put my brand on there, nobody bought it, and quality is not that great. Those are the three reasons why print on demand usually fails. But this is a frontier that I think gives your brand the possibility to actually grow in this market. It's going to take a little bit about creativity, guys. I'm going to put the idea out for you, and I want you to tell me once you're super successful and really rich, your case study, because I know you guys are gonna take so much value from this. All right, so this is what I saw out in this meet that I went on the other side of the world. I traveled to Norway. That's where there's a lot of snow pictures on my profiles and stuff recently. And I saw these sellers that are literally selling 10,000 products a day, 100,000 a month, a couple million a year, right? They're literally selling all kinds of different volume, and they're all doing this exact method. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys know about it because not many people do. All right, so when it comes to personalization, it's a new frontier in the sense that it allows you to actually personalize any product, right? So Gelato makes personalization accessible to everybody, which is something that's very new, right? So Gelato is really coming in here with an offering that allows you as an entrepreneur to upload designs and make them personalizable. Now, what do I mean about personalizability? That's a pretty big word and it's kind of confusing. So let me actually show you guys a screen share here. Let me share this. Okay, so personalization. What I mean by that is, are you ever like, for instance, have you ever gone to a store for a gift? Right? A lot of times we think about personalization as gifting, and that's really where you should be thinking about it for your brand as well. A gift means that it's seasonal, right? Sometimes it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. You got almost multiple holidays, right? So personalization as a clothing brand gives you the ability to be at the top of people's minds when important things are happening in their life, right? And you can make products that are going to be like all year, right? Whether it's like his and hers, however you float, whatever you do, right? You can literally personalize it. And in this example, you can opt. So what Gelato allows you to do is upload your own designs, right? So you can upload your own design, and now you can make aspects of it personalized. So in this one, if you go into the pet niche, you can have a wiener dog and put Jack on it. Now you love your wiener dog Jack. And that brand that gave you that mug, you're gonna remember them forever because they allowed you to personalize it. And what do you do when somebody comes over and they see that mug with your dog's name on it? You're gonna say, "Hey, where'd you get that?" "Oh, I got it from this brand." If you're an anime, if you're doing gym wear, if you're doing goth, you can create certain accessories or products that are gonna be conversation starters, and your market is looking to buy. Now, again, when I started this, before we started jumping into this, I mentioned what product are people in your niche buying? Because you don't wanna do something random that your niche isn't buying. You wanna identify the products that your niche is buying regularly, and then consider making them personalizable. Now, in this example, again, we're gonna dive into another one. It could be a his and hers or a wedding or a couple's gift. It could be anything that you guys wanna make. You can literally make it easy to personalize using Gelato's platform. In future live streams, we're going to be diving into the nuts and bolts about this. But right now, I wanted to put this information out for you guys to start simmering, to start cooking up ideas in your mind. Because if you're not already coming up with ideas, I'm literally giving you guys some. Think about the trending things: pickleball, anime. How can you create a line of products that goes into deep into that niche, right? If we're let's take anime for instance. Um, how can you create not you can't use licensed art in anime, right? They're going to shut your store down if you use a Goku and you start blowing up. You can do it on a small scale. You won't get that much in trouble, but as soon as you start blowing up, they're going to shut your store down. So you need to be creative in how you express anime to an audience. Is it certain sayings, verbiage, elements? Is it the fire icon? Is it if you're watching the Pokemon things, it might be the elements. You might make it creative in your own way. Print on demand works when you're creative with your designs, and then it works even more when people can personalize them. So right here we have, the this personalization studio. You can literally upload your design, and then through Gelato's personalization studio, it allows you to allow your customer to essentially personalize certain elements of it. So adding names, dates, anything you can imagine. You could do maps with this, you could do clothing with this, you could do mugs, you could do anything on their website personalized. And in the recent video that we launched, which is the most recent long form 1 hour YouTube video, I recommend you guys dive into that because I go more into detail on this exactly. But right now in this live stream, I wanted to kind of tell this. I wanted to show you guys this because it's so easy. You guys can start selling on different marketplaces, and Gelato imports all the orders and it makes it so easy for you guys to process those orders. Which if we head on over to Etsy, all right? So we're on the Etsy homepage right now. Drop a chat, drop a comment in the chat if this is interesting to you. If you're thinking about potentially doing it, if you've already come up with an idea as I'm talking, let me know in the chat what you guys are thinking right now. So we have masterclass. Thanks. Oh, how long did the live start? I'm an illustrator. Do you notice illustrations? Oh, perfect questions, guys. We're gonna be diving into them, but right now we're gonna go to Etsy. Now you might be thinking, okay, Etsy, what's Etsy about? Why should my brand be on Etsy? If you're offering some personalized product, you should definitely consider marketplaces where people are buying personalized products. Etsy might not be the only place. You might end up finding other groups that are undiscovered right now. Maybe the groups within your niche want personalized products, and your website can be the website where people can personalize the products that they love. But Etsy's is a really good example, so you can actually see some of the things I'm talking about. Now, if we come over to their homepage and we go to custom clothing, what you're gonna find is a hoodie that has dog mama, right? You're also gonna find this like personalized his and hers with an embroidered there, literally a sleeve embroidery, probably on a Gildan, and it's embroidered for somebody to just add text, right? So if you select their style, it says, "Why $38? How can I make money on $38?" That's a sweatshirt. If you want a hoodie, it's 42, right? So with print on demand, you might be living somewhere in the mid-20s, mid to high 20s, depending on which blank you use. You're almost doubling your investment by making a personalized product. And in that video that I highly encourage you guys watch, we dive a little bit more into this live stream was really diving into the details, and that one was giving you an overview, but then diving into the personalization aspect. So right now, I want to really take your questions, but the biggest thing to consider is just looking at what's selling on Etsy. If Etsy is a potential niche that your brand or customers are looking at. So if I come over here and I want an extra large hoodie, it's going to be $42. I add my personalized message here. After I add my personalized message, it goes into the Gelato dashboard. From that dashboard, I can approve the art, and the art automatically generates, sends it to the print on demand platform, and then it gets delivered to your customer's door. Now, this is a way for you to be able to customize your brand, guys. So imagine having your own logos at the forefront, but then that personalized ability. Imagine going into that anime niche or that goth or gym wear, and now it's actually got like personalized elements that somebody can wear, and when somebody says, "Yo, where did you get that?" Which brand are you think they're gonna go on? Are they gonna say, "Oh, I found it on Amazon," or it's like, "No, I found it from this brand. Look, it's right here." Right, that's how your brand can start growing, and it's how you can really start to take a market in a growing niche. It's another thing that separates you from the competition. So definitely take a look at what the personalization studio has here, guys. As you're creating your account, I want you guys to know something. We are working with Gelato, and they are actually bringing a special offer for you guys. So special offer here is that it's 50% off your first order. So if you create a Gelato account, head on over to gelato.com/John. In that, you're gonna sign up. Once you sign up, you got 3 days to order a sample. I would recommend that you save this link, gelato.com/John, because once you're ready to actually purchase, they give you 50% off your first order, which is a great deal. So you can literally get some things for a couple bucks, and now you can see the quality of it. You can see if it's something that you're gonna like. You can see how it fits within your market and within your plan. You could really get creative with making some products, showing it out to your market, and seeing if it's something that they'd like to buy. So a lot. It's a mouthful. I gotta admit, guys, but this offer here, 50% off, is a great way for you to actually try it out. And again, personalization is something that is here to stay. It's at the very ground level before everybody and their moms is doing it for their clothing brand. And I can guarantee you, a couple of people on this live stream are gonna do it, and they're gonna be killing it by the end of this year. It's really the place where print on demand, I think, is gonna have another break, because if you think about it, everybody's doing print on demand with AI designs and just random generic stuff. What really makes you different? What makes you different is the ability to brand and communicate to a niche. And then what really separates you is being able to personalize certain products for that market. If you make the product about them, they'll think about you. So the that is essentially what I wanted you guys to know. Make sure you guys save it. So I'm going to leave this right here on the screen, and then we're also going to take a couple questions while this is on screen. I'm going to head on over to see the chat real quick. So we have, are the Street Crafter blanks heavyweight? So the heavyweight, yes, Street Crafter blanks are 400 GSM. That means pretty heavy. They're not super heavy, like they're going to fall off and it's too hot. They're heavy. They're heavier than any standard blank or anything that you might have had before. A little bit heavier than the Fear of God ones, but it feels really nice. So it's really really good touch. And again, the website is linked in the chat. How long ago did the live start? We started it almost an hour ago. So we're diving into it. If you guys are just joining this live, again, guys, we're diving into 3 ways. I mean, we're diving into how to start your brand with no money, but we've been really diving into the 3 ways to actually begin it, your options and navigating it, finding your niche, some tools that we dove into, including Google Trends, some other ways to analyze the market. And now we just completed a personalization aspect, meaning how can your brand really stand out? How do you get those trending niches and bring something special to the market? So we just showed you guys a tool. The link on screen right now is 50% off your first order if you order within 3 days of creating your account. So as soon as you guys are ready to order some samples, identify the products that you want to make, create some designs for them, and then actually go on over to gelato.com/John and create your account. And as long as you order within 3 days, you get 50% off your first order. So one of the cool things about Gelato is that what they're doing is it's a network style of print on demand, which has its pros and cons, and we're going to be diving into some of these pros and cons. But first, I'm going to talk about the way that Gelato actually functions, which is a little different than the way that other print on demand platforms function. Now, let's head on over here. And I want to show you guys this because I think it's pretty informative in regards to like keeping in mind, you should consider the reason you should always sample the products that you're thinking about selling is because every print on demand platform works differently. Some people have all of their production in house with their own facilities, other people allow you to pick facilities. Gelato is routing to facilities. This means that if you're outside the US and you're thinking about selling in the US, they're not going to print it in the UK and then ship it overseas to a US customer. They're going to actually route it. And I don't think I'm playing any of my let me do a present. I was showing my screen here and I wasn't showing. So let me get on over here. Go. So you guys should see my screen now. So the way that Gelato functions is that they're more of a connector of all the supply chain that's happening around the world between shirts, posters, mugs, anything on their website is actually being made by print partners closest to your customer, as close as they can get it to your customer. So in this example, if you're selling in the UK or if you're thinking about selling in the UK, maybe you have some customers that are requesting your orders, but that overseas shipment, the tracking delays, the customs is turning them off. There's really good ways to work with Gelato to actually open up new territories. And anytime a customer buys from a different country that you're not in or that print facility isn't in, they're essentially routing the order to that country closest to the customer. So instead of it taking 2 to 3 weeks to get a product overseas, you're literally getting it within 5 days almost anywhere. Anywhere between 5 to 7 days is their promise, but they route the orders closest to your customer location, so then that way it can get printed more locally and then shipped to the customers, quicker. So they do have a little bit faster shipping, consider that, and that's really what separates them from the rest of the print on demand is the network effect um, as well as the speed and the personalization. Like those are the three things that I really think are going to allow you to win if you're going into the personalized aspect of it. Now, there are challenges with print on demand, guys. The real challenges that people are mentioning in the chats are product quality, quality control. Now, when it comes to doing anything with apparel, it's very, very difficult to get something to look exactly the same when you're doing it one at a time. What I mean by this is bulk production. You literally have 50 hoodies, you set up a print job, and that person does those 50. So for each time, they're getting it pretty similar, right? Or if they're screen printing it, they're doing it all at once. So it literally is automated. Now, when it comes to on demand, this means that that facility may get an order for a hoodie with an embroidery. Next job might be your job with the print on the back and embroidery on the front. It's gonna look a little different depending on who's handling it. So when it comes to product quality, that is a concern. So the ways to reduce your product quality that you need to consider about when using print on demand is that maybe print on demand isn't for all of your products. Maybe it's for select products. Maybe it's for products that your market is buying, such as like a poster or a mug or an accessory or a hoodie. And maybe it's for a certain product category that you know, hey, I want to make sure that this is plugged in with print on demand because I'm not going to be making a personalized product in bulk, right? It's one of one. So using print on demand with a certain blank that you can trust, meaning that you know that that blank is going to be good, and then limiting the design, like limiting the errors, the potential for errors. So if you have good quality art on posters, or if you're limiting the actual printing areas on the hoodies, however you can limit the risk of a bad product going out is the goal when it comes to print on demand. Because print shops are gonna take they're gonna take the challenge of whatever you challenge them to do. And if you want to go all out as if it's a bulk order, you're gonna run into some issues, guys. It's just the reality of printing and just the reality of apparel. It's not as simple as a mug or as a poster that's just literally flat. You got seams, you got different sizes, you got different patterns that need to go in, you got user errors. There's so much possibility that can go wrong. So always consider how to reduce that possibility by designing and creating products a certain way. Now, when it comes to margins, of course, customers are value conscious. This means that they're not willing to pay $100 for something just because you say it's $100. They're looking for the best value. And when it comes to print on demand, a way to bring that value is personalization. How can you personalize a product to make it theirs? Especially around certain seasons. How can your brand start tailoring products to certain seasons, like a Valentine's Day, or up and coming might be Mother's Day, right? So how do you make a product for somebody that's like, yo, I want to go to that brand, I want to personalize it with my mom's name, and I'm gonna gift it to her, right? Like those are the ways you should be thinking about in terms of profit margins. And then order delays. So when it comes to print on demand, you're literally the order is routing to the facility that has a certain amount of days to make it, but it still needs to be shipped, right? So those delays are there. And if it's being shipped across the country or across borders, there's gonna be more delays. So a way to reduce the delays is by working with, if you're gonna be shipping outside of the country that you're living, working with a partner that's in the country that you wanna do business. So those are some ways to overcome challenges, guys. Nothing is perfect. At the end of the day, there is no perfect way, there is no perfect plan. And as you guys are building your brand, you're gonna run into your own challenges. So the best way to proceed and move forward, always make sure that you reduce as challenges for the production partners, right? Reduce as much errors. And we're literally going over an hour right now. We're gonna power through and answer some of your questions. And before I answer some of these questions, I also want to make sure that you guys are aware that there is a discount if you're just watching. We're gonna link it in the description. We're gonna link it in the description down below. So you can start with a Gelato account, 50% off if you order within 3 days of creating your account. We're gonna link it in the description once this video goes live again. And then when it comes to some other things happening, if you're a part of our community, Street Crafter community, you might know that there's a big giveaway coming, and it's literally thousands of dollars worth of products being given out. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the newsletter there. It's www.streetcrafter.com. Check it out. See if there's something you like. Message us. Real people there, literally behind the business. And I'm also going to drop the Gelato URL in there real quick so you guys have it. And then I'm going to start answering some of your questions. So now that you guys had a chance to look at this and you had a chance to do the deep dive with me here, which questions do you feel, or which niches or opportunities do you feel that you're going to pursue this year? Feel free to share where exactly you're at right now. What are you currently doing with your business? What's a major goal that you have for yourself and your business this year? So let's start there. And I wanna answer a couple of your guys' questions. I wanna really assist you in where you're at right now. This isn't the last live that we're gonna do. It's literally the first one of many. We're gonna schedule another one for next week. That one's gonna be a lot of fun too. So if you guys are watching right now, or if you guys are joining late, make sure you guys are referencing this. We're going to have the replay. I'm going to do my best to put it on there. And we're going to have all these resources literally available for you guys. So if you're just joining, we dive into how to start your brand with no money down, but the 3 ways for you to actually start it, tools that you need to consider to picking a winning product as well as a winning market, the challenges that you're going to encounter, ways that you can stand out. We literally did a deep dive into this topic. I really hope you guys enjoy this one. Now, let's see. Let's dive into some of these. We got DTF in a heat press is a great way to start at home. So Vindicate, yes, it is. DTF, not the DTF you guys are thinking that you usually do at home. It's direct to film. We call it press art. Press art. Press your art onto your garment. And it is a really good way to start. And it's literally a way that you can be doing it on demand. Now, when it comes to God's too great, amen. I just launched my Shopify website, now trying to get orders and traffic flow to the site. So again, this leads us into the what is your niche, and then which group is currently buying those products, or who's currently buying those products, and how can you market more to them? So, is it influencer collaboration? Is it advertising? Find out where your customers are buying and why they're buying, and then figure out your budgets that you need to pay to drive traffic from the sites. Because if you get the right traffic at the right price, that's how you get traffic to the website and you get conversions. It is a science. It is something that's can be a little difficult at times. So we actually have a master class in advertising, and it's a part of our one. It's about 2 hour master class video. It's called "Starting Your Clothing Brand Empire." Where if you guys haven't seen that one, make sure you guys go check it out. It's literally 2 hours, incredible value. Skip over to the advertising aspect of it. You guys are going to see how to create a campaign and start to like really dial in those details. They literally showed our guest there shared so much gold that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. Okay, so is Etsy saturated? Let's see, is Etsy saturated? It can be, yes, it definitely can be. But if you carve yourself out a piece of the market, a niche, it's only continuing to grow, right? So the market share within Etsy continues to grow. That means that there's new niches popping up every single day. So it's about identifying a niche that you're passionate about, and then diving into products that other people aren't offering, and then making it different with personalization. Um, will we be able to easily access Streetcrafter outside the US? End of Q2, we're gonna have US distribution. Putting it out there, guys. We wanna work with the right people to ship and supply our UK, UE customers, because we have a huge demand overseas. We wanna make it affordable and available, similar pricing, but it's a logistical challenge. But at the very least, we're gonna offer shipping from the US to those countries to start, and then we wanna really expand that later this year. So we got We got let's see, whatever you do, get started one shirt at a time. That's how I started. Now I'm doing my own clothing brand full time. Amen to vindicate, guys. It's literally one at a time. Sometimes we get discouraged if we don't get those huge orders in, but it's literally one order at a time. Do your best with do the best that you can with that order and that customer and service that customer, keep coming back, and that's how you build it, one shirt at a time. I love that. And, is there any way I can contact you if you have any issues with drop shipping? So, it's a great question. Man, Richard Preda, man, he's really doing, he's really dropping in the good questions. I love these questions. So yes, there is a good way to contact us. So what we're actually gonna do is if you're a part of our newsletter, whether you're a part of our FTGU newsletter or if you're a part of our Street Crafter letter, and the next day you're gonna get a notification that's gonna have a link to our community. Now in that community, I'm gonna link it on here as well. It's gonna change. The actual website is gonna change, but for now, it'll redirect. So at the very least, you guys will have it. So we're gonna link it there. So we're relaunching our community. We launched it about a year ago or so, and we had to find the right way to do it. Right? It wasn't the way we were doing it, but now it makes sense, and we're making it make sense for you guys. It's a free community to join. In that, we're gonna have live streams like this happening a little bit more frequently with the man Medine. If you guys have been a part of the community before, you know the kind of value and resource and connection that he brings to everybody. So we're gonna have those going live again, and then we're gonna be having more YouTube live streams here. But if you want to connect more personally and have first dibs at live events, special giveaways, promotions, free product lines, all of that is going down in the FTGU community, which is gonna switch. But as long as you use that link, you'll find the right link to register, and it's free to join, guys. No strings attached. All you gotta do is fill in your info, and you'll have access to everything that's there. There's options for you to upgrade on certain things if you're interested in certain topics, but for the most part, we have a specialized training that's diving deep into print on demand. We actually already have a video in that, so as soon as you sign up, you'll have access to that as well. Now, we got Carla. I'm building a luxury streetwear, luxury activewear brand starting an all black collection that's consistent of blanks, basically and essentially like not so sophisticated items. Do you think this works? Any advice? Okay, so you're starting with blanks. I think as long as that's one of the things about apparel, guys, is everything is in your marketing. How well can you market what you're doing? If you're marketing something as a dollar, let's talk about what's one of the waters that are a dollar? Glacier, right? If you're a glacier, gonna be very hard to demand $10 for water if you're a glacier, right? But if you're a smart water or if you're a Fiji water, I mean, marketing and branding is the key difference there. So you can literally launch with a blank line if you position that blank line with the right marketing and branding. And then if you can deliver a higher quality product, that's really where you can stand out because now people when they shop, they're not just gonna be like, "Oh, I just bought this $50 blank." But if they buy that $50 hoodie, they're like, "Man, this is such a nice hoodie. I love this hoodie." And they're gonna talk about your brand. They're gonna come back and buy more products because you offered them something they were looking for, a product that was high quality for a certain market, certain branding. So you're able to reap the rewards from that. So yes, it can work as long as you market and brand it the right way. And depending on the price point that you start with will dictate the premium ability that you need to provide for your store. So if you have $10 hoodies and somebody buys it, then they're not gonna expect much. It's a $10 hoodie. So as long as you're delivering cheap hoodies to them, they're gonna keep coming back. But if you have a $50 hoodie with a $10 quality, people are not gonna come back. You need to be able to match the expectations with the pricing that you have. Because even though Fiji water tastes similar to the glacier or the cheap water, in a way, it has a little distinct taste, just a little bit if you're drinking it, and then the branding, when you walk into that room and you set that on the table, man, if you said a glacier water, they're gonna be like, "Look at this guy, he's homeless." If you said a Fiji water on there, they're gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's got money." Alright, let's talk business, champ, right? That $10 bottle of water might close you that $100,000 deal. It's that difference in perception that you're doing with branding. Alright, so we got God's Secret. I want to say thank you for all you do. Your channel's helped me so much. I made so much progress over the last 4 months. Man, thank you for leaving that message. Really, I really appreciate it, guys. It's been a while since we've done a live stream because literally takes a lot of effort to organize or even to just dedicate an hour, but I really enjoy these, and I'm literally gonna hold myself to doing minimum twice a month on live streams now. So turn on notifications to the YouTube channel. Please let us know which videos you want us to see. Please let us know which videos or topics you want us to cover, and then make sure you sign up to the FTGU app. It's going to be free. And in a few days, it's going to be open. You're going to get an email notification about it being open for you to join it. And then make sure you check out Gelato special offer to get 50% off your first order. It's going to be saved in the live chat here. We got the link there. It's also in the replay. And more importantly, guys, I want to leave everyone off here with just sharing that, you know, every year we're always if you're just if you focus enough on what you're doing, you'll eventually have success. Doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. But if you focus enough time and effort into it, all of your effort and time will compound. What does that mean? It means that a lot of times we never spend enough time doing something and we keep switching things that we never give ourselves the time to have all of the past work catch up to our current work, right? And at a certain point, the work that you're doing will start growing and growing and compound and snowball like a big snowball. And you'll literally have this huge movement, but it literally starts with crunching up a couple of pieces of ice and starting to push. It gets really hard at some points. You might want to give up because pushing through it is going to be the most is the hardest part. When you encounter difficulties and challenges, that's literally when you try to reconsider everything that you're doing in your life. But if you stick to a vision and you have a vision, you always got to look towards what that vision is, right? Identify that vision. That vision will be your guiding star. And then you also want to make sure that you're always reflecting and taking time to reflect on how you're moving in your life towards that vision. Are you moving closer to it or are you moving further away? Because there's always going to be challenges that come up, guys. There's no such thing as a perfect life, right? When you have kids, they're incredible, but they're super challenging. When you start your business and you start growing it, it's awesome. But now you got to deal with employees and you got to deal with all this BS that the state tries to throw at you for random stuff that you didn't know existed, right? Like so many challenges. And I'm speaking from my heart here to let you guys know that it doesn't matter what the challenges are as long as you stick true to your vision, you stay true to yourself, and don't forget, all you gotta do is take the next best step because you already have everything you need, guys. You have the idea planted in you, you already have the ability to do it. So just take the next best step and take it one step at a time, or like my man here said, one t-shirt at a time. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Make sure you guys check out the description that we're gonna leave in the video notes down below. And we're also gonna link a video right here where we're diving into the clothing brand masterclass. For those of you guys who are watching this on the replay, make sure you check out that video here where we dive into 2 hours, including advertising and all these nitty gritty details that a lot of you guys always ask about. We dove into it here. So appreciate every single one of you guys who watched today. And I'll see you guys on the next one.